So just wanted to really quick cover a topic that's been on my mind. Um, the difference. I'm gonna just get into it. So, been thinking about just gonna express my thoughts about this whole concept of the red pill and the blue pill, right? As everybody who knows about the Matrix, who's seen the Matrix, is the red pill is life. The red pill is coming to terms with reality, right? And the blue pill is um the simulation, right? The blue pill is the lie. The blue pill is everything cozy and nice that you know, just you don't have to bother with the real reality, the grim dark reality or whatever you want to call it. That is life, or the existentialism, or the hard, hitting questions, or the real reasons of life. Okay. So that's the red pill versus the blue pill. And when people say they taking the red pill, they're just meaning that more so they're talking about they're coming to terms with reality. They're waking up. They're becoming woke or whatever have you. So that's what, they're seeing reality. They're not, going by the myth, the fairy tale, or whatever have you. They're going by direct reality, right? So, um, the question is, why is it that some of us take the red pill and some of us choose not to take a red pill, or to just stay with the blue pill, right? So, my personal take on the matter, since I'm a writer, artistful writer, whatever you want to call it, um, whatever you want to label it or whatever. And I'm just a person who just, lives in this type of world of this, thinking of reality, of what this reality is. It's just me. So I thought I would express it. So my personal take for this on this day, that, whatever the day is, I think it's the 19th of June 2020, something like that. I don't know what day it is. But my take for the day is, of why people, why just somebody would stick with the blue pill, right? Instead of just, coming to reality, right? Why somebody like a Cypher in the Matrix who wanted to go back to the Matrix after knowing that the Matrix was just a lie and a simulation. And I think there's a good reason for that. So the thing is that some people, if you look at it in terms of this, some people are just not made up of the same things. Some people are just not built, their body, their entire being is not, the building blocks of them just isn't that could deal with taking reality as it is, and really just taking it everything as a whole, and really just kind of um breaking that down, and really just, acknowledging all of these things at once every day, right? Really just taking reality as it actually is, or thinking about things for themselves in terms of, does this explanation that I have really speak for what I really believe in? Does this speak for what I feel? Does this speak, there's questions about just questioning, I'd say, any belief that you have, or questioning something that somebody told you, or something that you've always just kind of went along with, you know? And I think those reasons would be, some people have no interest in that. Some people, they don't have the time allocated to do that. So some people, um, or the most of us or whatever, have other things to worry about during the day. Some are just not really, they're not intellectuals like that. Some just don't care. Some are just content or comfortable with what they already have. So they have no reason to change something that they've never seen a problem with, right? So the thing is like, if you look at that type of thinking as you're taking the blue pill, you're in the matrix, right? But the thing is like, you see, or somebody not in the matrix, somebody who's, who's stepped out of the matrix, the simulation of life, the what I would say is the simulation would be any dogmatic belief or any belief or anything that's, just not provable, but yet those who believe it would assert that it's true without the evidence that, determines or really qualifies it as being a real truth to somebody who's just outside of that, right? So I would say the reason why maybe a person who stepped outside of the matrix, right, can't get through to somebody like, who's taking the blue pill and saying, yo, you're taking a blue pill. I mean, there's many reasons, psychological reasons of why, and I'm not going to get into every little factor, but simplified version is because not everybody's built the same way, right? Because to kind of step out of the, kind of awaken out of the matrix, right? Like the matrix when it first started and you saw Neo was bursting out of the fucking the vineyard or whatever. And he was he was all up in this, he was in this sack and he had this ooze all over him. He had the, the hookups and all the hookups, and he broke off all the hookups and all of that stuff. And he awakened, right? That's a long, and then he looked around, he got out of all that stuff. He looked around him and he saw that he was in this stuff, and he was like, what is going on? And this robot came and captured him and took him away or flushed him or whatever, because he was no longer part of the process. And then they rescued him or whatever, I guess, keeping him from being disposed. But that's a lengthy process. That's a lot of stuff, right? He had to do all of that, breaking off all that stuff and coming out of that ooze and the little capsule. Like, it's a lengthy process. It's not easy, right? And then going from that, he was in this completely other world. He woke up in this completely other world, and he had to completely relearn how to exist and be, right? He had to relearn everything. Everything that he had known in his previous life in the Matrix didn't apply to this new world. So he had to relearn how to exist and how to be. So that in itself is a lengthy process, because if you think about in terms of that, like, let's say you just flush everything you've ever believed, ever know, and then tomorrow you just wake up and you gotta relearn why you do anything, right? And you, from that day on, you gotta relearn everything, or you gotta, kind of just come up with an answer, at least if you don't relearn, but come up with an answer why, or what reason you have to do anything, or what reason you have to feel good. And that's a lengthy process. Now, most people, and I'll say most people because I'll just say most people, and I don't think that I'm percentage wise wrong. Most people don't care, don't have a reason to go through all of that. It doesn't apply to them. They don't have the thoughts that lead them to question maybe something that they believe. And that's why somebody else who's kind of outside of the status quo of the belief or whatever, and I'm not just talking about belief as in religious belief. I'm talking about belief as in any reason you see to, exist. It could be freaking esoteric belief or anything, any kind of pre-plotted, this is why things are, this is what it is, and this is why it is this way type of concept or construct of thought or being. That's what I'm saying. but they don't have, a reason to. There's no reason to come out of that, and they don't in themselves see a reason to come out of that. So if you, as a person, are wondering why did this person, I'm showing this person, saying all this stuff, and they still don't care. It's like, I think it's because it's a not everybody's built to kind of be non-conforming. Um, Non-conformist. Not everybody's built to find to be existential. Some people just want to, like Cypher in the Matrix, just want to um, you know do what they do. They want to eat, sleep, poop, uh, have sex, um, be on Instagram. They just want to do what they do, and they don't want to think about that stuff. So, and the taking the blue pill allows them to do that, because if you think about it, because they take the blue pill, or because I don't want to stigmatize anybody the way I'm talking, but and I'm gonna say, like, that's fine. I'm gonna say, just to start off, just to say, that's, there's not everybody's the same. Not everybody has to be the same. But here's the thing. So the comfort in taking the blue pill allows you to not have to deal with existentialism, right? And as is Western society thinking mind frame, um, we outsource, right? So here it is, right? Like, Cypher did not want to be in the Matrix. He did not want to have to eat gruel as he saw it. He didn't want to be in this cold environment, hard, metallic, fighting for his life or whatever, which is a movie, and that doesn't really transfer over to real life, per se. But he didn't want to do it. He wanted to go back to the Matrix, and he's like, I don't care that it's a simulation. I don't care that it's fake. I just want to be able to eat steak. I don't care if the steak is fake. I know the brain is just telling me in my brain waves that it is real. I don't care. I just want to do what I do and go to sleep and not have to worry about all this stuff. So, in the same way, I would say that a blue pill, a person who is content with their, being in a blue pill type of living, is able to be content with that because they get to do what they want to do. They get to be, or focus on, or think about just being or having fun, or just being, or not having to really think too heavy on stuff, or to bother with all of this existentialism, and ask questions, or question what they believe, or question how is this true, questions things like how is there a flood, and is it really possible scientifically, historically, do we have the evidence to see whether it really happened or not, or how does a person um survive in a whale's belly without stomach digest, all of this stuff, or how does the spirit of the universe guide you, and have the best out for you, how does that equate in some type of form of logical thinking. They don't want to think about all that stuff. So it's easy, it's something that keeps a person content, because they don't have to, right? They can just say, I just want to do what I want to do. I want to eat steak, sleep, have sex, go to sleep, wake up. I don't want to think about all that stuff. So it makes it to where they can continue doing that, but then for the reason, the meaning of life, they can just pass that off to whatever group, organization, deity, esotericism, or whatever, and they can let that be the process that does all of that stuff, so they can just continue, doing what they do, right? And that's completely fine. You don't, not everybody has to be fit in the same boat. So a person like myself, I would say, who is not I've never been content. I, to the moment to where I even thought of to think why, how does this all make sense? Was the moment that I was just kind of like, trying to answer these questions that came up in my head. So where it just developed to a point to where I was just like, I kind of just, wanted the red pill. Sorry for the camera shake. I kind of wanted the red pill, and I, don't see myself as somebody who's, needs to just, or I can't. I'm not the type of person who just can be content with just, eating, pooping, sleeping, and just doing, because it doesn't, it's just normal processes. Like it doesn't, produce anything just to do normal processes, right? I'm the person who's thinking existentialism all the time, and I'm the person who's like asking questions and wants to have the conversations and wants to, like, solve real life problems with real life answers, not, and I don't want to pass that off to say this or that, can do it for me. And I think that's the thing that most people do. Like they're just not the type of people, majority wise, people aren't the people who want to think about all this stuff. They aren't, they don't want to, they don't have a reason. They don't have the reason to, never presented the reason was never presented that made them have to make the hard choice or made them want to think about the hard choice, or even, it just never been a thing. So completely fine with, well, why am I sinning? Why am I so sexual? Why am I so angry? So you go, so they, as they have not um allotted themselves of being existential in themselves, they will, or anybody, or you, or whoever, will go and you'll let the other thing, deal with all of that for you, right? And then you'll go and you'll try to figure out yourself by way of that, right? And you say, well, you're sinning because you're just a bad, you're a sinful creature from birth or whatever. Or there's nothing you're gonna do about that, and you're just gotta pray or whatever. And to where an existentialist, a person who is a red pill, ingester, who has ingested a red pill, um, is not content with just taking that as an answer, and understands that, the answers are much deeper than that, and the reasons are much deeper than that, and the reason why some certain things happen is just because it's just life. It's just who you are. It's just where it just is, and you just accept it, and that's just it. You just make the best of what you got to deal with. Whereas some people want to solve, or maybe another person would like to solve for that, solve for X. How you fixed it? How you not do it? How do you, figure it out? How do you cure it, right? And they think, or if maybe you think that, that's the cure, or that other thing, that belief is what you need to do to cure it, or you don't, you allocate it and let it tell you, what you need to do, or tell you what's the cure. And that's fine, because, not everybody wants to be the person who's thinking about, or even cares, or has a reason, or even sees what I'm talking about, or even, like, you might be watching this and like, what are you talking about? Like, I don't, why would you want to do all this stuff? Or why would you even want to take a red pill? Or what's on the other side of red pill? You're crazy. And that's fine. I mean, that's, everybody has, what they think. Not everybody has to be the same. But for the reason I'm making this video, I kind of just wanted to go over real quick, kind of what the difference is, that, in my opinion, a difference is between a red pill and a blue pill individual, and why there's a difference. Why, just kind of touch on it for today, what the difference is. And I think that an existential person is just the person, they're just, when the day that pops up to where you're thinking like, yo, like, this does not answer it. Whatever I've been doing, whatever I've been told, whatever I've been taught, it's not an answer. It's not it's not answering it for me. And the questions I got, it don't seem to make sense in this frame. And whereas another person might say, well, they never think about that stuff. They don't care. It doesn't matter. They have no reason. They have no motivation to do that. So they are completely fine um letting, the belief or whatever answer X for them or tell them what the answer to X is. Whereas the existential person on the level would say there is no answer. They're just, or why are you trying to answer the question? What's the reason you even want the answer? Um, or just, say, well, I accept everything. There is no good and bad. There's just life. Whereas, you know, somebody else might say there is an answer. And that might be their belief. And if that's your belief, that's fine. But that's just a difference, right? There's two different types of thinking, and there's more than probably two. It might be a mix of the two or whatever. But I think for what I'm saying is that's the difference. And that's kind of what I would say would be the reason between a person who's the red pill taker and the blue pill taker, right? And if you're a red pill person, you can't understand why a person would take a blue pill. I think that it's because of these reasons. And if you're a blue pill person and you're like, what is this red pill? What are they doing? They're lost. They're, crazy. That's also, a reason because, you know, it's just not in that person to just let X be answered by this other thing that they don't see as being an answer to anything. And so they must ask the question. They must think about things in a more intellectual or more different spiritual way than just letting, what they would say is simulation or just living within one frame and just doing that. They can't do it. They can't, they mentally, physically can't do it. And it's just not them. Just as some people, it just isn't them to search for any reasons or try to answer or question their beliefs. It's not in the other person to believe it without questioning it. And just can't do it. And I think understanding that will kind of bring some insight into just being, human being and accepting differences and accepting and acknowledging differences and just saying, well, some people are just different and my way is not the right way and their way is not the right way. It's just there's different ways and everybody has their ways. And when you understand that everybody has their way because not everybody is the same, we don't try to put everybody in the same boat and we don't expect everybody to be in the same boat. We don't force everybody to be in the same boat because there is no one boat. It's just everybody's different and everybody has how they are comfortable with existing. So I just want to go over that and kind of went a little long, but I'm just going to end it here. Thanks if you watched the whole thing. I appreciate it.